فت فؤادك الأيام فتى
الحمد لله رب العالمين له الحمد الحسن والثناء الجميل وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له يقول الحق وهو يهدي السبيل وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. The importance of seeking knowledge. The first ayah that inshallah ta'ala that I will use is the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al Imran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, Shahid Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He testifies, Annahu la ilaha illa huwa, that there is none worthy of worship except Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal malaikatu, and the angels. Wa ulul ilmi, and the third are the people of knowledge. So let's ponder inshallah and think on these verses. Allah is saying subhanahu wa ta'ala that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He testifies that there is none worthy of worship. So the first who testified that there is none worthy of worship is who? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. And then who is the second? Wal malaika, and the angels. And then who did Allah make the third? Wa ulul ilm, the people of knowledge. Allah made them the third one. Now what you all have to realize is, what is it that Allah has used them as evidence? What has Allah used the people of knowledge as an evidence? Or how has Allah used them in terms of their testimony? Pay attention to the question that I'm asking inshallah ta'ala. Allah is using the ulama, the people of knowledge, Allah is using them as a witness. And you only use a witness in someone who is reliable, who is truthful in what they say and truthful in what they do. The second thing is that Allah used them in a witness in the greatest thing that a person can testify towards, which is Tawheed. Tawheed, Allah is using the ulama. The third benefit you can take from the verse is Allah has mentioned them next to the angels and next to His own name. When you read the verse, you see that Allah has connected His name, and then after that the angels, and then after that the people of knowledge. So that's a very high status. That is a very high status. And Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, he is one of the scholars who commented on the Quran. And he has a ahkam, a book where he extracts ahkam from the Quran. And Imam al-Qurtubi said regarding that verse, Abu Abdullah al-Qurtubi, he said regarding that verse, في هذه الآية, in this verse there is dalilun, an evidence. In this verse there's an evidence. على فضل العلم, the virtue of knowledge. وشرف العلماء, and the virtue of the scholars. وفضلهم, and their virtue. فإنه لو كان أحد أشرف من العلماء, because if there was anyone who was more honorable than them, لقرنهم الله, Allah would have mentioned them باسمه واسم ملائكته كما قرن اسم العلماء. If there was anyone who was more noble than the scholars, Allah would have mentioned them next to the angels and Himself. But because there is no one more noble than the ulama and the people of knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose to use them after what? After He Himself subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the angels. وقال, this is the kalam of Imam al-Qurtubi, وقال تعالى في شرف العلم. Qurtubi then says, Allah has also said in regards to the virtue of knowledge to His messenger لنبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم, وقل رب زدني علما, O Allah, increase me in knowledge. فلو كان شيء, if there was anything أشرف من العلم, more virtuous than knowledge, لأمر الله, Allah would have ordered نبيه, His messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, أن يسأله, to ask. If there was anything more virtuous and greater than knowledge, Allah would have asked the messenger to ask Allah to increase him in it. أن يسأله المزيد منه كما أمره أن يستزيده من العلم. Al-Imam Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he said regarding that verse, the same verse, شهد الله, he said قرن الله تعالى شهادة ملائكته وأولو العلم بشهادته فقال شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم وهذه خصوصية عظيمة للعلماء في هذا المقام. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said, Allah has mentioned the testimony of the angels and the people of knowledge with his own testimony subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he brought the ayah. وَهَذِهِ, and in this testimony is what? خُصُوصِيَّةٌ, a unique specification. عَظِيمَةٌ, that is noble and high. لِلْعُلَمَاءِ, for the people of knowledge. في هذا المقام, in this matter. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah al-Jawziyah, the student of who? Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn al-Qayyim has a book called Miftahu Dar al-Sa'ada. Ibn al-Qayyim, he has a book called Miftahu Dar al-Sa'ada. Whatever publication you rely on, the volumes differ. But if you rely on the best publication, which is Daru Alam al-Fawaid, they published it in one very thick volume. In that book, Ibn al-Qayyim, he brings 153 virtues regarding knowledge. 153 virtues regarding knowledge. Ibn al-Qayyim, that's what he does. And that book of Ibn al-Qayyim, it talks about two things. What does it talk about? Two things. The first thing that it talks about is knowledge and its importance. So when you read the first page, the first couple of pages, he goes over 153 virtues of knowledge. After he finishes, Ibn al-Qayyim, he goes into what? The second thing, which is irada, to have a drive. And Ibn al-Qayyim used to say in his books, he says it in many places, every salik, everyone who wants to get to Allah successfully, he wants to meet Allah and Allah is happy with him. What does he need? He said, عِلْمٌ يُبَصِّرُهُ وَيَهْدِيهِ, knowledge that gives him insight and that guides him. And the second one is what? وَهِمَّةٌ تُرَقِيهِ, high aspiration that lifts him up. Everybody needs that. Everyone needs what? He needs knowledge which gives him insight and that guides him. And what does he also need? He also needs irada, a motive, a drive. And many of you have not probably pondered on that. That is what we ask Allah in the salah 5 times a day. In every rak'ah, we ask in Surah Al-Fatiha, we say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Which path are we asking Allah? من جمع بين العلم والعمل. Those who have combined between knowledge and the ability to execute that knowledge which they had, which is to implement it. Who are those who have gone against that path? They are the Jews and the Christians. The Christians, they don't have knowledge, but they have aspiration and drive and motive. But they don't have what? They don't have knowledge. So they implement or they do without knowledge. Whereas what? The Jews, they have what? They have the knowledge. But do they implement what they know? No. The Muslims have combined, inshallah ta'ala, or the believer who inshallah Allah has given him tawfiq, he has combined between what? Ilm and amal. So that book, Ibn al-Qayyim, that noble book, Miftahu Dar al-Sa'ada, Ibn al-Qayyim, the first evidence he brought regarding the virtues of seeking knowledge is the ayah that I read in Surah Al-Imran, Shahid Allahu. Ibn al-Qayyim says about this ayah, when he brings it, he says, هَذَا يَدُلُّ, this ayah shows, عَلَى فَضْلِ الْعِلْمِ, the virtue of knowledge. وأهله and its people. من وجوه from many angles. From many angles. أحدها, the first one is استشهادهم دون غيرهم من البشر. The first one is Allah took the people of knowledge as a evidence, as a witness. Allah has taken them subhanahu wa ta'ala. 2. اقتران شهادتهم بشهادته. Allah has mentioned His testimony subhanahu wa ta'ala with the testimony of the people of knowledge. والثالث, the third, اقترانها, Allah mentioning it next to بشهادة ملائكته, next to His angels. It's another virtue. The angels are what? لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. يسبحون الليل والنهار لا يفطرون. They are a creation who obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as He commands them. So you as a person of knowledge, inshallah, you will be mentioned and inshallah have that ability to be mentioned next to Allah and His angels. والرابع, the fourth, أن في ضمن هذا تزكيتهم. This ayah is to show Allah has given a reference. Allah has given a tazkiyah. A tazkiyah is what? What would appraisal letter, right? Allah has praised them subhanahu wa ta'ala. If one of you today wanted to go to the University of Medina, or you wanted to study in an Islamic university, you ask for what? You ask for tazkiyah. Those who are going to universities, the UCAS, in which you apply and you write your personal statements. Or if you go for a job, they ask you for a reference letter from your previous company. Or they ask you your previous individual you were working with. Sahih? The ulama, they have a tazkiyah. They have a praise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أن في ضمن هذا تزكيتهم وتعديلهم. Allah considered them reliable. فإن الله, verily Allah, لا يستشهد, Allah does not take a witness min khalqi, from His creations, إلا العدول, except those who are reliable. Allah won't use them as a what? Witness if they're not reliable. He only used them because they're reliable. وَمِنْهُ الْأَثَرُ, and from that there's an evidence, there's an athar. Al-ma'rufu, that is known, عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, from the messenger, which what he said, يحمل هذا العلم, this knowledge, it will carry it. Who? Min kulli khalafin, every generation, this knowledge will be carried. عدوله, the reliable ones are going to carry it. ينفون عنه تحريف الغالين وانتحار المبطلين وتأويل الجاهلين. What will their job be? They will stand to defend this religion from the distortion, from the tampering, from the mocking of those who try to tamper with it, or who try to distort it, or who try to what? Who try to mock it. They are there to stand to protect it. So they are people who are what? They're reliable. The next evidence, inshallah ta'ala, to show that there's knowledge and its virtue is قوله تعالى, Allah's speech. قل هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He asked us a rhetorical question. Its answer is not even required from you. It's known out of necessity. It is known out of, it's known out of necessity. An answer isn't really needed from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in this ayah, قُلْ, say to them, Muhammad, are they equal? The one who knows and the one who doesn't know, are they equal? Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, إِنَّهُ subhanahu, Allah exalted He is. He has what? نَفَتْ تَسْوِيَةً, Allah has negated to make it equal. بَيْنَ أَهْلِهِ, between His people, وَبَيْنَ غَيْرِهِمْ, and other than His people. Allah has a people. And the people of knowledge are what? They are the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has chosen to negate, to make anyone equal to these people of knowledge. Kama, the same way Allah has chosen to negate نَفَتْ تَسْوِيَةَ بَيْنَ أَصْحَابِ الْجَنَّةِ وَأَصْحَابِ النَّارِ. The same way the people of Jannah and the people of Nar are not the same. the same way is the one who knows and the one who doesn't know are not the same. How could they be the same? And he said, Allah said, فَقَالَ تَعَالَى قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ كَمَا قَالَ تَعَالَى, as Allah said, لَا يَسْتَوِي أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ, the people of hellfire, وَأَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ, and the people of hell, Jannah, لَا يَسْتَوُونَ, they are not the same. لَا يَسْتَوِي, the person in Jannah and the person in hellfire, are they the same? Never could they ever be the same. The same way those can't be the same is the same way that the people of knowledge and the ignorant one can't be the same. Look at the vast difference between the two. Look how the parables, the examples that are being given in the Quran, that one of us should wake up and realize the status that these people have. Al-Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, he transmitted a very powerful statement that we cannot tear our eyes away from, that we need to look at. Al-Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, he said, قال الزجاج, well, بالمناسبة, his name is الزجاج. The za is a mushaddada, and so is the jim. Some people, they incorrectly say it. Al-Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, he said, قال الزجاج, Zajjaj said, who's one of the previous scholars. He said, كما لا يستوي الذين يعلمون, the way they are not the same, the ones who know. والذين لا يعلمون, and the ones who don't know. كذلك لا يستوي المطيع والعاصي. The same way is the one who obeys Allah and the one who doesn't obey Allah, not the same. وقال غيره, Qurtubi said, other than Zajjaj have said, الذين يعلمون, the ones who know, هم الذين, pay attention. This is one thing you all need to know. Some people think that knowledge is the one, من حفظ المتون, the person who memorized so many books, they think that's the scholar. Or the one who can read Arabic, or the one who knows so much ayat, they think that's the scholar, but that isn't the scholar. The scholar, Imam al-Qurtubi, he's going to give us a dabit, something which we can hold on to. Who is the person who is a scholar? And who are these verses that we are reading, who is it applying on? Or who is it speaking about? Imam al-Qurtubi said, الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ هُمُ الَّذِينَ يَنْتَفِعُونَ بِعِلْمِهِمْ, they are the ones who are benefiting from their knowledge. هم الذين ينتفعون بعلمهم ويعملون به, and they implement it. They are the ones who benefit from their knowledge, and they are also ones who stand up for their knowledge to implement it. فَأَمَّا مَنْ لَمْ يَنْتَفِعْ بِعِلْمِهِ, as for the one who hasn't benefited from his knowledge, وَلَمْ يَعْمَلْ بِهِ, and he hasn't implemented it, فَهُوَ بِمَنْزِلَةِ مَنْ لَا يَعْلَمْ, he is from, and he is equal to the one who doesn't know. وُجُودُهُ كَعَدَمُهُ, its presence is like its absence. The one who what? Who doesn't implement the knowledge. So the alim, or the person or a person who's called Ahlul Ilm, as Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah said, is the one who implements what he knows. And so when we say ulama, we're talking about people who Allah has given them knowledge, and Allah has also given them the ability to implement that knowledge. Those were some ayat, and due to the short time, I want to inshallah ta'ala move on to the hadith of the messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam regarding the virtue of knowledge. Al-Imam al-Humaydi, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Shaykh al-Bukhari, and he's the first individual Bukhari started his book with when he was started إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Humaydi, Abdullah ibn Zubayr Bukhari narrated it from him to his chain of whom Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Muawiyah, he narrated this hadith in a khutbatul Jum'ah, and the people were listening to him. And Muawiyah said, سمعت النبي, I heard the messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam يقول, I heard the messenger say, من يريد الله به خيرا, anyone who Allah wants for him good, يفقهه في الدين, Allah gives him the ability to understand the religion. وإنما أنا قاسم, the messenger then went on to say, I am only one who divides. Wallahu yu'ti, Allah is the one who gives like him. وَلَن تَزَالَ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ, and this ummah will not remain قَائِمَةٌ عَلَى أَمْرِ اللَّهِ, steadfast upon Allah's commands. There's always going to be a group like that. لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ مَنْ خَالَفَهُمْ, it will not harm them, the one who opposes them. حَتَّى يَأْتِي أَمْرُ اللَّهِ, until Allah's affairs comes. Bukhari and Muslim both narrated it. Ibn Hajar, who commented on this hadith, said something very powerful. He'll explain the hadith for us very much. He said, هذا الحديث, this narration, this hadith that we just took, Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he said, مشتمل, it consists of ثلاثة أحكام, three ahkam. This is kalam yastahiq an yuktaba bima'i dhahab. It is a speech that deserves to be written in ink of gold. It deserves to be written in what? Ink of gold. And Ibn Hajar rahimahullah is saying, I hope all of you know who Ibn Hajar is rahimahullah. Ibn Khaldun rahimahullah, he said before, one of the great scholars before, Ibn Khaldun said, Sahih al-Bukhari yudaynun ala hadhihi al-ummah. Sahih al-Bukhari is a debt on this ummah that they have to pay. The ummah have to pay back Sahih al-Bukhari. Ibn Khaldun said this in his Muqaddimah. Sahih al-Bukhari is a debt on this ummah they have to pay back. Meaning Bukhari has indebted this ummah for the efforts and the hard work that Bukhari put in his Sahih. Traveling the world, compiling the hadith, bringing it together, and here you are, you press 4 buttons on your laptop, boom, the hadith comes out. He did this for you, so it's a debt that he has on you. And Imam Shamsuddin al-Sakhawi rahimahullah, who is from the students of Ibn Hajar, he said, لو رأى, if Ibn Khaldun was to see Fath al-Bari, which is the explanation of what? Sahih al-Bukhari, لرأى أن الدين توفي حق الوفاء. He would have realized that the debt was paid back the way it deserves to be paid back. Who paid it back for us? Ibn Hajar rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. And that book, Fath al-Bari, it is, if it's not, rather it's the best sharah on Sahih al-Bukhari. So when we say Sahih al-Bukhari's hadith is narrated in it, we can't be absent from looking at what Ibn Hajar said about this hadith. We have to bring our eyes back to it. So Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he said, rahimahullah, هذا الحديث, this narration, من يريد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين, hadith Muawiyah. He said, مشتمل على 3 أحكام. It consists of 3 ahkam, 3 rulings. أولها, the first one, فضل التفقه في الدين, the virtue it has to understand the religion. Number 2, أن المعطي في الحقيقة هو الله, and in reality the one who gives is Allah. You want to seek knowledge, you want to learn, don't ask anyone except Allah. The Prophet was said to him, say, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. Oh Allah, you increase me in knowledge. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and inshallah we're going to take some examples of the Salaf of this ummah and how they seek knowledge. If Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah was reading a book, a mas'ala became a bit too tough with him, Ibn Taymiyyah, if it became hard on him, he would go and he would scuffle on the earth. He would toss and turn on the earth. Like the way that the dabba, the riding beast, goes on the earth. He humbles himself for Allah. And then he would say, Ya mu'allima Dawood allimni wa ya mufahima Sulaiman fahimni. The teacher of the one who made Dawood know and educated Dawood, educate me and make me understand. And the one who made Sulaiman understand and comprehend, oh Allah, make me understand and comprehend. And then he would go and then Allah will open the issue for him. So when you're seeking knowledge, you have to beg Allah tabarak wa ta'ala to make you understand. The third one is what? أن بعض هذه الأمة يبقى على الحق أبدا. The third one is what? In this ummah, there is always going to be a people who are standing steadfast on the haqq. There's always a nation, a group of people who are always upon the haqq. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah, he said that. So the hadith has what in it? فضل التفقه في الدين. The virtues of understanding and pondering on the religion. Ibn Hajar's speech is very long. Before you guys lose concentration, I'll just read the kalam which I want to you guys to realize. Ibn Hajar says, وَمَفْهُومُ الْحَدِيثِ. The hadith has a mantuq and it has a mafhum. So those who study usul al-fiqh will know the hadith has a mafhum and it has a mantuq. A mantuq is a direct wording from the hadith that the hadith has. And a mafhum is the understood meaning from the hadith. The hadith says, anyone who Allah wants for him good, He makes him understand the religion. What is the understanding? What is it that we understand from the hadith? Ibn Hajar then says, أَنَّ مَنْ لَمْ يَتَفَقَّهْ فِي الدِّينِ. The one who is not given the understanding of this religion, أي يتعلم قواعد الإسلام وما يتصل بها من الفروع فقد حرم الخير. Anyone who Allah hasn't given him the ability to have understanding of the fundamental principles of this religion, without it you will not be able to understand the sub-branches. then that person has been prohibited from a lot of good. That person is what? He's prohibited. So when you see a person who knows, he's learned the religion and he understands, then what you need to know is, أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا. Allah has wanted good for this person. It's an alam, it's a sign for you to recognize that good has been wanted for this person. Good has been wanted for this person. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said in another hadith, speaking about the virtue of knowledge. There are a lot of narrations. I'm going to just take those which are common, inshallah ta'ala, and that which people know. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, on the hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet gave us a parable, an example. He gave us a what? A parable, an example. He said, مَثَلُ مَا بَعَثَنِ اللَّهُ بِهِ مِنَ الْهُدَى وَالْعِلْمِ. The example of that which Allah has sent me down with in terms of guidance and in terms of knowledge, كَمَثَلِ الْغَيْثِ الْكَثِيرِ. It is like a lot of rain. أَصَابَ أَرْضًا. The guidance is what? And the knowledge is the rain. That rain, it goes down on the earth. Are you with me? That knowledge, the guidance and the ilm that the Prophet was sent down is the rain. And you're all aware that the same way that the rain gives life to the person, because when the rain comes down, where does it come down? It comes down on the earth. The earth then produces crops. And then with those crops the people live. The sunnah and the kitab of Allah, also when they come from the sky, they are what? They give life to the people. As Allah said in the Quran, وَكَذَلِكَ أُوحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا مَا كُنْتَ تَدْرِي مَا الْكِتَابُ وَلَا الْإِيمَانُ وَلَكِنْ جَعَلْنَاهُ نُورًا نَهْدِي بِهِ مَنْ نَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. The Quran is what? أُوحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ رُوحًا مِّنْ أَمْرِنَا. The Quran and the Sunnah, they give life to the people. They live. Through the Quran and the Sunnah, the person will have a life and they will live. So this revelation from the sky that has come down from the sky, the way that the rain, the way that it has different lands that it waters on, when the revelation comes down, the people are different as well. And the way they take it. فَكَانَ مِنْهَا نَقِيَّةٌ قَبِلَتِ الْمَاءِ فَأَنْبَتَتِ الْكَلَأُ وَالْعُشْبَ الْكَثِيرِ. There's some lands that when the rain falls on it, it will take the water in and it will produce something. And from the people are those who are like that. They will take the revelation, they will take the knowledge, and they will go out there and they will produce. They will educate and they will learn. They will save themselves first and their families, and they will go out for the society and the community. وكانت منها أجادب أمسكت الماء فنفع الله بها الناس فشربوا وسقوا وزرعوا. The land that holds the water, the people, they take from that water, they drink, and it benefits them, and they water it. وأصاب منها, another portion of the earth where the water falls onto. إنما هي قيعان, it's a hard earth. لا تمسك ماء, it won't hold the water. ولا تنبت كلأ, and it will not also bring no crops out whatsoever. فكذلك مثل من فقها في دين الله ونفعه ما بعثني الله به فعلم وعلم ومثل من لم يرفع بذلك رأسه. The messenger gave the example, and the same is the what? The people, in terms of my religion and the guidance which I came with, and the way they accept it. There are those who are what? They won't produce anything with the religion. They won't take it in, and they will not produce. Who is never lifted a head for knowledge. After I've given all these examples, inshallah ta'ala, over the years, whenever I read a book and I come across a fa'idah, a benefit, I write it down and I keep it in a small book. But now, because technology has advanced, I try to not keep it just in books. I try to keep it in my laptop to save those information or those stories. So inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to share with you some examples. Through the years, I came across the ulama and the people of knowledge previously, how they were in seeking knowledge. And I will conclude there, bi'idhnillahi, al-Kareem. The first waqfa, inshallah ta'ala, is ulama who know sciences. They were so in love of seeking knowledge. They knew knowledge. لا يعرفون أهل عصرهم. The people of their time didn't know that knowledge. They were the only. They were alone in that knowledge. No one else knew it. From the Salaf were those what? They knew knowledge or information they had which no one of their time knew. And you're going to be amazed with some of them. Ibn al-Khashab, rahimahullah, he's a Nahwi al-Hanbali. He's the Hanbali madhab, and he was a Nahwi grammarian. He died the year 567 Hijriya. He says, Inni, I, verily, mutqinun fi thamaniyati ulum. I am solid in 8 fields of the religion. Ma yas'aluni ahadun, no one asks me of it. عن علم منها ولا أجد لها أهلا. And I also don't find a people, if I was to give it, I don't find people who I can give it to. 8 fields of the religion. No one asks me about this. And I don't find a people where I can pass it on to. This is how the knowledge of those people were like. Abu al-Baqa al-Subki rahimahullah. Abu al-Baqa al-Subki, who died the year 777 Hijriya. He said, أعرف 20 علما. I know 70 fields of knowledge. لم يسألني بالقاهرة أحد. No one in Qahira asked me about it when I was there. How many sciences does he say he knows? 20. Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr ibn Jama'ah. He said أعرف 15 علما. I know 15 fields of the religion, knowledge. لا يعرف علماء عصري أسماءها. The people of my time don't even know the name of these fields, let alone what's in it. They don't even know the names of these fields. Ahmad ibn Nafi' al-Fasi rahimahullah, he said, عندي 24 علما. I have 24 fields of knowledge. لم يسألني عنها أحد. No one ever came and asked me anything about it. The same was narrated from Abi Tib al-Abdul Mun'im. Abu Muhammad ibn Uthman ibn Ali al-Maliki rahimahullah, who died the year 600 something. There were ulama you would be amazed with, who knew sciences, and they had fields with them that nobody of their time knew. Wallahi, what amazed me the most whilst I was reading the Tarajum, Sir Alam al-Nubala, Wafayatul A'yan, Tariq al-Islam, these books, when you read the biography of the Salaf of this ummah, and you look at their life and how they were, you'll be amazed. What I did was, I saved and I collected a people who were increasing themselves in knowledge في حالة الاستحضار. The time which they are dying on their deathbed, they were writing knowledge, and they were carrying, and they were taking it on. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, at a very old age, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, at a very old age, they saw him with a log and a pen. He was writing. And so they said to him, إِلَى مَتَى تَطْلُبُ الْعِلْمِ. Ahmed, for how long are you going to seek knowledge? How long are you planning to seek knowledge? And then Ahmed said, مِنَ الْمَحْبَرَةِ إِلَى الْمَقْبَرَةِ. From the cradle to the grave. I will seek knowledge from the cradle, from birth until I die, I will seek knowledge. This was a man who we could say that Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i rahimahullah used to say to him, Ahmed, if we say a hadith, and this hadith is from the people of Iraq or the people of Kufa or Basra, whatever it is, notify of us it. Abu Zur'at al-Razi, he said, I sat down with Abu Zur'at al-Razi. He said, I sat down with Ahmad ibn Hanbal one time. He was telling this to the son of Imam Muhammad, Abdullahi ibn Ahmad ibn Hanbal. I sat with your father one day. And he said, million hadith. We sat down and we revised it amongst ourselves. Abdullah said, how did you know he memorized that much hadith? He said, I sat with your father, I revised with him. This was the hifd and the memorization of who? Imam Ahmad. And even then he believed there was more for him to learn. And this reminds me of the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, "Man humani," two individuals who are hungry, la yashba'ani, they never fill up. Two hungry people, two types of people who are hungry, they never get filled up. Talibu ilmin, a person who's seeking knowledge, and a talibu dunya, the person who's seeking the dunya. A talibu ilm, he never gets tired of seeking knowledge. He reads, he goes and reads again. He reads. Every time he reads, he wants to know more and more and more. Wallahi, some of the seer of ulama I read that if I could compare them with something, you would compare them to how you would see a drug addict. And why would I say that? A drug addict, when he needs his drugs, he starts to sell his own properties. He will sell his children's food. He will sell his own clothes. The ulama used to sell their children's food, and they used to sell their pots and their pans just so they can seek knowledge, or for a book. Some of them would sell their own houses just so they can read a book or two. That's how they were. Abu Tahir al-Silafi rahimahullah, it was said that he said, "Bultu daman," I urinated blood. I urinated blood because of the excessive walking I had to do through the deserts when I was seeking knowledge. Urine became what? It became blood. Abu Yusuf rahimahullah, the great Qadi, this is him at his time of death, and this is what happened. Taqiyuddin al-Tamimi rahimahullah, he narrated in Tabaqat al-Saniyya, in the tarjama of Ibrahim ibn al-Jarrah, who is the student of Abu Yusuf. He said, "Ataytuhu a'uduh," I came to Abu Yusuf to visit him. فَوَجَدْتُهُ, I found him mughman, I found him fainted. This is his dying, his last moments. فَلَمَّا أَفَاقَ, when he woke up and he saw me, قَالَ لي, he said to me, أَيُّهُمَا أَفْضَل, which one's better? أَيُّهُمَا أَفْضَل فِي الرَّمْيِ, when the person is stoning. When the person is stoning, which one is better? أَن يَرْمِيَهَا, that the person stones it and throws it, راجلا أو راكبا, walking or on his riding beast. Which was better? This individual is asking a mas'ala fiqhiyya, and he's on his what? He's on his deathbed. So he's saying, which one is better when a person is stoning the jamarat? Which one is better? Is it better that he does it with his riding beast? Or is it better that he does walking? And then he said to him, rakiban. It's better he does it with his riding beast. He said, akhta'ta, you got it wrong. He said, mashiyan, then walking. He said, akhta'ta, you also did it wrong. He said, with riding beast, he said, you got it wrong. He said, walking, he said, you also got it wrong. Because mas'ala fihi tafsir. Ithbat mujmal is not beneficial here. To just give a general answer like that without doing tafsil is not praiseworthy here. He wants answer tafsil. He said, if he's going to do it with dua, it's better he's what? Mashiyan. If he's going to make dua, it's better that he does it mashiyan. And if he's not going to make dua and he's mujarrad, he just wants to stone, it's better that he what? He riding beast. That's better. And then he said, when he finished the answer to that, ثُمَّ قُمْتُ مِنْ عِنْدِهِ, I stood up from where I was with him. فَمَا بَلَغْتُ بَابَ دَارِهِ, I did not reach the door. حَتَّى سَمِعْتُ الصُّرَّاخ, until I heard a screaming. وَإِذَا هُوَ قَدْ مَاتَ, he died. Abu Yusuf rahimahullah. The last moments of their lives, these people were seeking knowledge, or they were learning. They wanted to learn. Abu Zur'at al-Razi, his story is very common. Rahimahullah. On his deathbed, his last moments, he's about to die. Ibn Abi Hatim, he mentions it in his Kitab al-Jarh wa al-Ta'dil. Ibn Abi Hatim, AbdulRahman ibn Abi Hatim, the son of the great scholar Ibn Abi Hatim, Abu Hatim al-Razi's son, AbdulRahman ibn Abi Hatim. He said, سمعت أبي يقول, Abu Hatim al-Razi said, مات أبو زرعة, Abu Zur'a died, and he had on his forehead, وكان عرقا, there was a sweat that was coming from his forehead. Hey, why would he say that? Why would Abu Hatim say that? What's the benefit in that? Does anyone know? What's the benefit of him mentioning that he was sweating when he was dying?
Because he's busy.
It's alamatun min husn al-khatimah. The Prophet said that the death of a person whose forehead is sweating is Ahlul Jannah. It's a sign of what? It's a sign of husnul khatimah, a good death. That a person dies when he sweats from his forehead. So when he said that Abu Zur'a was sweating, because it's a good sign for us. The second thing was, he said we were sitting with him one day, and wallahi brothers, we sisters, we need to take this from the story. من عمل على شيء مات عليه ومن مات على شيء بعث عليه. Anyone who used to do something, he will die upon that thing most likely, inshallah. And anyone who dies upon something, he will be resurrected the day of judgment with that thing in his hand. Abu Zur'at al-Razi's job was to work and defend the Sharia and the religion, the Sunnah. And look at his last moments, what he was doing. Last moments. They asked him, at his gathering, they mentioned the hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, which is, what is it that you do in the gathering of a person who's dying? If a person is dying, the Sunnah is that the people who are around him, they mention the kalimat al-tawheed in his gathering. They say it to him. If they come up to him and they say to him, say la ilaha illallah, in a very nice way. So he doesn't get angry and say, I don't want to say it. They say it in a very nice way. And when he starts saying it, the people are quiet, they leave him alone. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Man kana akhiru kalamihi min ad-dunya la ilaha illallah, dakhala al-jannah. Anyone who la ilaha illallah is the last words in which he says, Jannah is going to be his final abode. So the people should be quiet when the person is fi halat al-ihtidar, he's on his last moments and the tawheed is being said to him, the people should be quiet. Shh, don't talk to him. Let him say it and khalas. Let that be the last word. If somebody talks to him and asks him any questions or he says something, then again, remind him to tell you the tawheed. So that is the last thing he says. Abu Zur'at al-Razi was on his deathbed. They saw he was about to die. So they wanted to say it to him. So amongst themselves, they started to say the hadith. They said that the hadith is narrated from who? Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Who narrated it from Mu'adh is Muhammad ibn Maslam. Abu Zur'a heard them say that. He sat up. Abu Zur'a, and then what did he say? Rawa Humaydi ibn Ja'far. Narrated from Salih ibn Abi Arib. He narrated from Kathir ibn Murrah, who narrated from Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Man kana akhiru kalamihi min ad-dunya la ilaha illallah, and he died. And he died at that point. He didn't finish off the hadith by saying dakhal al-jannah, but la ilaha illallah was what he had to say. And did he say it? And that shows you, brothers, they loved knowledge. Even at that point, he brought his sanad. He didn't just say the hadith. Al-isnadu min ad-dini walawla al-isnadu laqala man sha'a ma sha'a. The isnad is the religion. It's the religion. He didn't just say Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. He wanted to give an authentic hadith which he was sure of. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, which you all know. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, the great mufassir. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, al-Ma'afi al-Nahrawani, rahimahullah, he has a book called Al-Jalis al-Salih. He has a book called Al-Jalis al-Salih, 3-4 volumes. He says, وَحُكِيَ لِي بَعْضُ بَنِي الْفُرَاتِ. Some of the people of Bani al-Furat informed me, عَنْ رَجُلٍ مِّنْهُمْ, a man from them, أو مِنْ غَيْرِهِمْ, or other than them, أَنَّهُ كَانَ بِحَضْرَةِ أَبِي جَعْفَرٍ. Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, he was in the gathering of Ibn Jarir al-Tabari when he was dying. Just before he died. قبل موته وتوفي بعد ساعة أو أقل منها. An hour or while later, Ibn Jarir al-Tabari died. He said, فذكر له هذا الدعاء. A dua was mentioned to Ibn Jarir al-Tabari with a chain of narration. And he's on his deathbed. They told him a hadith from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the Messenger used to make this dua. When they told him, فاستدعى محبرة, he asked, can you get me a wood where he wanted to write the dua on? He asked if they can bring him ink and a pen, and if he can write it on a sahifa. فقيل له أفي هذه الحالة, Ibn Jarir, do you want it even in this situation? You're dying, you're on your deathbed. فقال, he said, ينبغي للإنسان, it is required from a person, ألا يدع اقتباس العلم حتى يموت. A person should always want to take from knowledge. He should not die except wanting to add to knowledge, take from it until death comes to him. Even on his what? On his deathbed. This one amazed me also. It was narrated from Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Wasim ibn Sa'dun, rahimahullah, and he was well known for his ilm in all of the funun of the Sharia. قَلَّ فَن. It's little that you find a fun of the Sharia, except he said something about it or he spoke about it. He said, وَدَخَلَ عَلَيْهِ. They entered onto him. وَهُوَ فِي النَّزْعِ. And he's about to die. Some of his students, they came onto him. فَنَادَاهُ. They called him. They called him on his deathbed. فَلَمْ يُجِبْهُ. He couldn't answer because he was so weak. He was what? He was so weak. They called him on his deathbed and he wasn't able to reply back. فَلَمْ يُجِبْ. فَقَالَ. They said to him, they said when he couldn't answer, they said to him, وَحِيلَ بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ مَا يَشْتَهُونَ. It was barricaded, prevented from him that which they used to want. He wants to reply but he can't. He's been stopped from it. He heard them recite that ayah, and then he said, نَزَلَتْ فِي الْكُفَّارِ. That ayah, it came down on the kuffar. Because the ending of the ayah was what? إِنَّهُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِنْهُ مُرِيبٍ. They are what? إِنَّهُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مُرِيبٍ. They are in what? A state of doubt. So the ayah is not even referring to the Muslims, so why would you say it about me? It's to show you that spreading knowledge and learning and educating was everything for them. Wallahi, the stories and the athar and the text I collected over the period of time is more than 1,500 regarding those quotes and the statements and the things that they were like. But wallahi, brothers, in this world you're going to have to be patient on one or the other, and it's your choice. Are you going to be patient upon ignorance, or are you going to be patient in seeking knowledge? Because ignorance itself needs patience from you. But it's better for you to be patient upon what? Wallahi, seeking knowledge. It's embarrassing for a person to want to know an issue which is sometimes very private for you. It's a private issue. You don't want no one to know this issue. It's maybe connected to your wife and your family. Maybe it's a secret that you don't want to tell anybody. But when you call the shaykh and you ask him, you have to tell your secret in order to know the hukum of the ruling of the Sharia regarding this matter. And it's aib. So brothers and sisters, my advice to all of you, inshaAllah ta'ala, is seeking knowledge and learning and educating yourself. It's of high level. It's of high level. The virtue of knowledge isn't just connected, brothers, to what? Isn't just connected to the humans. Even the dog, the one that knows and the one that doesn't know, Allah gave virtue to the one that knows over the one that doesn't know. The dog that has knowledge is better than the dog that doesn't have knowledge. Because Allah says in Surah Al-Ma'idah about the dog that knows, مُكَلِّمِينَ تُعَلِّمُونَ مِمَّا عَلَّمَهُمُ اللَّهُ. The dog in which Allah has gave him understanding and comprehension. If he hunts, you have two dogs. One you have never trained him, and the other one you trained. If the one you've trained, if you let him go, and he goes to the animal and he eats the animal and the animal dies from his bite, if you go there, you can slaughter it and you can eat it. But the one that's not trained, if he does that, you can't eat it. It's haram in the Sharia. Why? Because the one that has knowledge, he's doing it for you. Whereas the ignorant one, he's doing it for whose sake? For himself. Does that make sense? So when you let him go and you said Bismillah, and he went, both of them. If this one dies and this one dies, you have to check. That's the dog. What do you think about human? And one statement I'm going to conclude with is what Ali ibn Abi Talib said. Ali said, كَفَى بِالْعِلْمِ شَرَفًا أَن يَدَّعِيهِ مَنْ لَا يُحْسِنُهُ. To show you how high knowledge is, everyone here right now, if I say to you, you're an alim, you will get happy. Yes, me. You get happy. Sah? If I was to say to you, jahil, you would what? You would lose it. even if you are. To show you how high knowledge is everyone wants to be called a scholar. Everyone would like to be called a person of knowledge. And ignorance, everyone runs away from it. Isn't that the case? That shows you, that statement by itself shows you how high knowledge is. Anything which I have said that was wrong or incorrect is from me and shaitan, and Allah and His Messenger are free from it. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.